For round number 3 of the World Sim Series F4 Championship as the drivers get into the middle of the qualifying session. We can have a look at what has happened in the championship so far. Gavars leads in Pro Plus ahead of Bernini and O'Brien. Talianos in P4 and Mendeles in P5. Pro Am is led by Jofert ahead of Rybatsky, Nikkanen and Kirkis. And in Am, it's Niskanen ahead of Ojunas and Schmidt and Peterson in P4. Those are your standings. From standings missing are Gamberini and Pugliatti, who have been upgraded to Pro Am since the last round. And Gamberini right now sits at the top of the qualifying session by a decent margin as well. Pugliatti in P3 and P2 for Bernini. So that's an all-Italian 1, 2, 3 so far. But still a little bit of time in this session to go. Just over 3 minutes. So still an opportunity for drivers to improve and go up a few positions. And I'm joined, as always, by Laurinas.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this third round already. That's the mid-season of the Formula 4 Championship, which is pretty popular amongst the drivers. Still 2 divisions active and nice battles on the racetrack. It's going to be a 30 minutes race with a bit of strategy involved. One mandatory pit stop is here to play an option for the drivers. And we've looked at the standings. We did not see the names of Gamberini and Pugliatti so far. This is because they started in the second round as M drivers. Gamberini came and won the first race, so, well, both of the drivers are now promoted to the Pro M category, and I think we might have a situation where for the next round both of the drivers will be the Pro Plus category drivers. So we might also not see them in the standings, so just towards the end of the season we will have a exact glimpse into the standings as Gamberini sets the fastest lap time so far. 5 rounds towards the overall results of the drivers. And let's bring it on with the track located in Italy, Imola. Qualifying session on, 2 minutes on the clock. Most of the drivers have just set their fastest lap times, went straight back into the pit lane for a full reset of the car, and they will have yet another chance on the racetrack. 1:43.1 the fastest lap time so far, and Bernini is 5.5 tenths behind Gamberini. Pugliatti is currently third with the qualifying session still, I'd say, on the table. The pole position is on the table, though the gap is really huge at this moment.
Some magic would have to happen, I think. A magical lap from Bernini to close down this gap. I mean, it's over half a second, and well, Gamberini was quick last time out. It looks like he might just be even quicker this time. So very, very impressive performance in the qualifying session so far. Is there an improvement from Pugliatti? I think he's just starting a new lap. So we'll see if he has any opportunity to improve. This is his final shot at this qualifying session. And there was a car on track. I'm not sure if that hindered him too much. We'll see it once he crosses that Sector 1 loop. We'll see where he really stands. And it's purple in Sector 1, so that car definitely didn't hinder him too much. And actually goes back to green, so somebody behind him improving, and that's Bernini actually setting the fastest time through sector number 1.
Oh, that's wide.
Now that's wide. We'll see if that is actually a track limit penalty. We don't know how the track, how the system decides on those limits, but it looks like he's still pushing on. It's probably still a valid lap. And now Gamberini, purple through sector 1.
Purple in sector 2 for Pugliatti also, so Bernini is back into the pit lane. He set the fastest first sector, and I think he made a mistake along the way. Now it's between Pugliatti and Gamberini. Pugliatti currently fastest in the middle sector. Yep, it's just a confirmation that Gamberini has set the fastest sector in the fastest first sector. And Pugliatti position Gamberini is 900ths of a second slower. Pugliatti pulls off into the pit lane. These are two drivers that were the fastest in the pre-qualifying session. The pre-qualifying lap time was 1:42.8 set by Gamberini. Pugliatti was just a tiny bit slower, and this is a chance for Gamberini to get back that pole position to his name. He qualified first 1 week ago, 2 weeks ago, 1 round ago, and he'll start his second race, the third race of the championship, from P2 it is. He didn't improve, so he just went to a full break. That's Rybatsky crossing the line. He managed to overtake Bernini, who didn't set the last lap that he was on, and wow, this is it. The qualifying session is basically over, and we might go and check out the results if we have them.
Looks like a lot of track evolution. Now at least for me, the results are stuck.
Let's try to get those on our screens if possible. There they are. I'm not sure if they are the correct ones, but we can go through those, I think. Yep.
So we're not seeing Pugliatti at the front.
Yep.
Even though it does say his last lap is very quick and good enough for pole. Well, that's interesting. Well, I think we'll follow what we saw on our screens with Pugliatti taking pole position. Bernini would be in 4th. 2nd for Gamberini and 3rd for Rybatsky. Azikev took pole position in AM ahead of Niskanen. With the next Pro Plus car only in P10 with Gavars, and then the next one is Santo Nicola in 14th overall behind P3 and Junas. So those are your results, we think, but we'll see what the actual situation is once we get to the track. And I think Pugliatti is on pole, so I guess the system was a little bit wrong there. But half an hour of racing, 1 mandatory pit stop, everything can still change. And now the long run down into turn 1. It looks like a very good start from Gamberini, who manages to hold on onto the inside. So Pugliatti couldn't close the door there, and this is going to be side by side down into turn 1. A little bit of rubbing, but who's going to come out in front? And it is Gamberini for now, who takes the lead of the race. And Rybatsky holds on to P3 with now Pugliatti going to the outside. This is going to be difficult to do, but he tries and he tries, which turns to the inside here, gets the position, and wide from Gamberini there. This is going to give a chance to Rybatsky to maybe try and mount an attack as well, but actually it's more of a benefit to Bernini. A few spinners in the back, that's a bit Chunas, I believe, and goes to the right to the back of the field. Rybatsky holds on to P3, so our top 4 remains unchanged from the start, even though we saw a few position switches. Azikev loses the position, well, gains back the position now from Niskanen, and Azikev the only one on medium tires in that top 6. As somebody was wide.
It was Gamberini. Gamberini was wide. But he managed to continue again wide. I'm not sure what the track limits here are here at Imola are, but it looks like Gamberini is using a little bit more of the full width of the racetrack, but he has a go on Pugliatti around the outside into Rivazza corners, which will lead to the main straight. Pugliatti manages to hold on and fend the attacks of Gamberini, but both of the drivers have already an 8/10 advantage against Rybatsky and Bernini. So while battling each other, they are still pulling away. Bernini sets the fastest lap time as he runs side by side with Rybatsky. So are Gamberini and Pugliatti. Don't forget that this is a long straight and there is a big toe.
Big contact, and that puts the battle for the lead away. And, well, that's an interesting rejoin as well. This puts now Bernini up in front, who got past Rybatsky. And Azikev now up into P2 as he gets past Rybatsky. So all change at the front, and the 2 Italians collided and have issues. Azikev now dropping down the field. He was off the road, stays in the lead of Am just about, but horrible start for, well, horrible lap for those 2. Turn 1 contact, and they were battling hard, and it just went over the edge. So now Pugliatti in P8, Gamberini in P10. They are definitely the quickest 2 cars out on track. This will be an interesting recovery drive from them. I don't think they got much damage from that. I think it was just wheels rubbing and a little bit of contact for a spin, but no real damage done, as Pugliatti up into 7th, goes a little bit wide, but takes the position. there might be an opportunity for Gamberini to take 2 here, actually, as he gets onto the back of Kirkis. Gavar's in front there, as he'll go to the inside. Wow, gets both of them down the inside. A little bit of a lock-up, but now they're back into 7th and 8th.
But again, it's Pugliati who is behind. It's Gamberini who is behind Pugliati. Bernini is setting the fastest lap time. Pugliati overtaking Niskanen at the very beginning of this long straight. Dobrovolsky setting the fastest lap time so far. Oh, and that's Niskanen running a little bit wide. Might be a chance for Gamberini for another recovery position. They didn't lose too much, actually. They are still in the battle for the win of this race. We'll have one mandatory pit stop. Most of the drivers are on hard tires. So basically no strategy involved. One car is facing the wrong direction as Gamberini overtakes Niskanen. Lots of drama here on the tarmac of the Italian racetrack. Pugliati on Santa Nicola. And he's already up to P5. Great recovery drive. A little bit of damage for the right side of the vehicle, but I think it's only graphical. The Assetto Corsa, I don't think it has such a great damage model to slow down the cars after contacts like that, like those. Azikev against Dobrovolsky.
This is not a battle for class position.
I think it was Pugliati running wide. Or
there
maybe
was a lock
it was Santo Nicola, and he let Gamberini through. So it was not Pugliati locking up in the Varianta Alte chicane. As Azikev is now lining up behind Dobrovolsky, trying to use that slipstream, having to pull off very early into the straight. Bernini setting the fastest lap time of the race, Azikev setting the fastest lap time of the race, and then Pugliati taking over the fastest lap time of the race. And we're still quite slow, the cars. Well, they are not heavy on fuel, but they are heavier than they were in the qualifying session. And they are currently, well, let's say 2 seconds slower than the actual pace can be. Azikev up into P3, trying to pull away from Pugliati, but he is actually pulling away from Niskanen and doing a very decent job. But Azikev is on those softer tires as Pugliati doesn't wait too long and pulls out a move on Dobrovolsky up into P2. Gamberini seems to be a little bit slower. Maybe he's the driver who got a little bit of a damage from that contact. His lap time was 1 second slower than the lap time of Pugliati. So he might struggle here in this race. Remember, Pugliati had issues last time on the racetrack, and he had damage, so he was not able to extract the full pace of his car. Still managed to finish up quite high in the standings. I think Pugliati finished... he finished 7th with quite a lot of issues in that round. He wants to recover now as a Pro-M driver.
Yep, but now it's Gamberini's turn, and I think this is going to be a pretty easy move that he can make on Dobrovolsky. And I wouldn't put it past...
Who's that? That's the... No, that's left car. No, that's Pugliati.
No,
that's Pugliati.
Pugliati was right off the road. He goes into the pits now, and I'm sure that must be some damage at least to that car. As Azikev moves into P2 now, so we've got Pro-Am and a Pro-Am car. As Gamberini round the outside, a little bit of contact and pushes Dobrovolsky away. And goes up into P4. Fastest lap of the race by Pugliati? Really?
Yep, I think, but it's... Oh, Gamberini's off the racetrack!
So another one, and another car was there as well. Wow. Well, these two, they look to be on course to go back to the front of the field. Now, the chop starts again.
Yep, Gamberini back down into P10, but this time he's already quite far behind Bernini, and I don't think he'll be able to pull off a decent result here on the circuit in the overall standings. He's currently third. He's third in the Pro-Am standings. Yep, we have a lot of categories for the drivers to make those 360 spins and still be in the podium places. So Gambarini still looks a bit better than Pugliati, though Pugliati, well, he made a mistake and he went straight into the pit lane. He can do that. Everybody will go into the pit lane. His pit stop might be a little bit longer because, well, we assume he hit the wall and received plenty of damage. Gambarini just made a 360 spin, so he's back on the racetrack as Peterson was not able to fit on the racetrack. Azikev setting the fastest lap time. He's flying on those medium tires, surrounded by all the drivers on hard compound tire. Ojunas is the next car who's on mediums in the top 10 standings. I didn't expect this much of action on the Imola racetrack, but the action actually comes from, well, mostly from the drivers making mistakes. We had a very nice battle for P1 at the opening laps between Gambarini and Pugliati. Both drivers collided and both drivers made extra mistakes. Now Gambarini back into P8. Pugliati is also somewhere in the field. He's 15th. With that mandatory pit stop out of his way. I wonder how long the damage was fixed, how long it took for the drivers to stay stationary in the pit stall. He's still gonna be a driver in contention at a high place finish. Both of the drivers on pure pace are the fastest drivers on the racetrack. I don't think Bernini is at any threat at all. Rybatsky is just a little bit of pace by the looks of it. He qualified third. He's currently dropping behind Bernini. Azikev is an M driver with medium tires, so he's definitely faster, and I think he's just doing what a driver on a medium tire has to do. With a lighter car and softer tires, he's just pushing like crazy. An M driver looking for an amazing win. He needs to avoid mistakes, and mistakes do come quite easily here with these, I'd say, unpredictable cars. They are nice to handle, but if you are a little bit too aggressive with the throttle, the back end can step out, and we've seen these cars understeer a little bit. So when you're not cruising like a Sunday driver, these cars are fun but also quite tricky to drive and keep on the tarmac without a spin. Gambarini up into P7 now. 17 seconds.
It's a very good look for Bernini now at the front of the field. He's got no challenge from behind. Closest Pro Plus car is Gavars. But even if we expect Gambarini and Pugliati to be upgraded to Pro Plus, they're still so far away. They looked good before both of them made a mistake in a sector and a half. Maybe, I don't know if they even made it a full sector between the two mistakes of those drivers. And I don't know if Pugliati actually got damage. Maybe he went off super wide and just went into the pits because that was the best option there. So we'll see where he is once everybody takes their pit stops. Azikev looks good, but he's on that medium tire. He needs to keep extending his gap, but I think we'll be seeing him into the pits shortly, as he'll need to make a tire change. As Bernini now starts to go quicker.
Azikev made a small mistake, or the tires are going off on that car. His last lap was slower than the lap of Rybatsky. Oh! Another... who was that on off the racetrack? Solkauskas. We have plenty of very similarly looking liveries. Solkauskas is currently 18th. Pugliati is 14th, gaining on P13. As Gambarini is gaining again back on Niskanen. He's only 1 second behind, looking to advance into P6 in the overall standings, still running third in the Pro-Am class. Rybacki is currently in the lead and is gonna be hard to catch for Gambarini. I'm not sure what position will Pugliatti end up at. Let's look at the lap times. 1:45.1, no damage on this race car. He's a little bit slower than Bernini. Maybe he didn't fix that car in the pit lane, just made that short splash and dash to maybe reset himself for a better race, which looked very fast for Pugliatti at the beginning. He was in the lead, he was battling for the lead. Then that small contact which sent both cars for a spin. Then both drivers made mistakes. Now they are basically invisible at the moment in this race for strong positions. Well, Gambarini is just about to advance into P6. That's not for a move for positioning class. This is a move for P6 in the overall standings. By the way, Niskanen is about 10 seconds behind Azikev, but Niskanen is on a different strategy. So, well, I assume he's on a different strategy because he's on hard tires. So, Azikev, even though he's quite far in the lead in the M class, he's still not certain. We might still not be sure about the win of Azikev in this race. And Niskanen, who just made a mistake, might be looking strong, or at least have a chance to battle for the win in the M class.
Interestingly, Azikev still didn't come into the pits, so I'm going to guess it's going to be this lap. Stop, he'll rejoin into traffic, I think, no matter what. But he has to make that change at some point. Everybody will have to come down pit road. Not everybody will be changing tires. And look, he's making mistakes. He's losing time. So this looks like a good moment to do that. Remember, he'll go back on the mediums. So I'm guessing he'll go back on the mediums, which would mean another quick stint from him. So this is looking decent for him. And I'm going to guess, yep, comes down pit road. Puts Rybacki into P2 for now overall. And he'll get a fresh new set of tires. Get ready to go for this second part of the race. So Niskanen moves in front for now. He might even move in front after the pit stop, but there might be a pretty big difference in pace. Pugliatti moves up positions, and he's already completed his pit stop.
He's gonna overtake Azikev, yep. So, well, his position in this race is still pretty strong if you consider the position where Azikev went back on the racetrack. But of course, most of the drivers will stay stationary for a much shorter time. They'll only splash and dash their cars, and Pugliatti has damage. He has a damaged front wing, so maybe that's not allowing him to do those 44s that Bernini is capable to pull off. He's still fast, definitely not looking for a win in the overall standings, but well, the position he is currently back at might give some positive vibes for the driver. And Gambarini is still on the track with a slightly healthier car by the looks of it. Also a 45.1, so very similar lap times for both of the Italians. The leading Italian, Bernini, is currently on the fastest pace of them all, another 44.6. So he's not only the fastest car, he's one of the most consistent cars on the grid. That's how he managed to pull off almost a 9 seconds lead against Rybacki. Oh, there goes Bernini, 44.5. he just shows that his car in one full piece capable of doing those fast laps that he was able to pull out not only in the qualifying session but also in the pre-qualifying session and the practice sessions. What about Pugliatti, who's about to cross the line? 44.6. Both Italians back on the pace. Pugliatti doesn't have to pit anymore. Gamberini will join the pit lane with most of the other drivers from P10. 11 minutes on the clock, and usually we have this splash and dash pit stop happening towards the very end of the race. And by the looks of it, it's still the fastest strategy, the faster strategy of the two we've seen so far. You just spend less time in the pit lane, even though you're running a little bit slower on the racetrack than your rivals with those softer tires. They lose a lot while being refueled, and those tires get swapped. Oh, let's go fast. Gamberini gains on Gavars, and it's just a question of a couple of laps when we'll see that battle happening on the racetrack. Pugliatti is quite far behind any battle now. He's 6 seconds behind Kirkis. I think Pugliatti just made a mistake. He was about 5 seconds behind. Might be mistaken, but I think the gap just grown to be a slightly bigger one.
I think Pugliatti will get in front of Gamberini, looking at where he actually came out on track. Azikev, though, has got good pace with those medium tires. We'll see what this next lap actually is.
Yep, Pugliatti made a mistake. Pugliatti made again, he lost about 3 seconds. To be a bit generous, 44.6 followed by 48.0. I've seen the gap went up again between Kirkis and Pugliatti, so I'm not sure if he'll end up ahead of Gamberini, who is now right on the tail of Gavars. Did Gavars make a mistake? Or is it Gamberini who is...
Doesn't look like it is. At least last lap it was just Gamberini almost a second quicker. So Gamberini definitely quickest car out on track, together with Azikev and Pugliatti when Pugliatti isn't making mistakes. Obviously Azikev on the softer tire, so he's got a grip advantage there, but he's definitely putting together some great pace. And goes down the inside, does Gamberini. Not for position though. That is Pro-Am versus Pro. And he sits in third in class, so he'd actually want to be in the Pro class now, because if you're a Pro car, you'd actually be running second in class. Considering that he's a Pro-Am car, he's running in third in class.
Yep, Gavars lost
situation.
3 seconds in the previous lap time. I think Gamberini is currently enjoying the Pro-Am badge near his name, but I think he'll be a Pro Plus driver. And that means that the results for the first round that he raced at and this round should be calculated as a Pro Plus driver, as Pugliatti sets the fastest lap time now out of everyone after making that mistake. So he has the pace. He was leading the race. He might have won this one quite easily if he had not been involved in that a very too close battle with Gamberini, and that was still not the worst case scenario for Pugliatti. The next couple of mistakes show that you cannot win races like that. Well, even though you are the fastest car on the grid, if you keep making mistakes, there is no chance for you to win the races. 7 minutes on the clock, still plenty of pit stops ahead of the drivers. But, well, the most popular strategy is already quite obvious. I think for the next round we might see even more cars, or even less cars, doing that soft tire strategy.
Depends, it's working for now for Azikev. He's got good pace. Lost a lot of time last lap, but we'll see where he is in relation to Niskanen, because they were they qualified right next to each other. Did he lose? Yeah, there was something happened last lap.
Yep, 151.3. He lost quite a lot.
That will be interesting. Where does Dobrovolsky come out? It's a very long pit lane here, and a slow one as well. Dobrovolsky, he is back out on track and loses the position to Puliati. Dobrovolsky stays behind.
Well, Azikev made that mistake on the previous lap, so he lost around 6 seconds on the racetrack, which is quite a lot.
He would have been right behind Dobrovolsky without that mistake, so that could be actually the thing that loses him the lead in the fight for the win of the M class. It's now a question of where does...
Yep, he lost the lead. He definitely lost the lead now. This is another spin. That's what I was talking about as Bernini enters the pit lane. It's these cars, if you want to be fast in them, you have to be very precise with your inputs, not only the throttle, also the steering wheel. When you're accelerating or when you're braking, they can offer you plenty of grip, but if you're not careful enough, those spins can happen. As Gamberini sets the fastest lap time, he's trying to chase down Bernini, which I don't think is gonna happen. I don't think Gamberini will chase down Nikan and drive through for speeding in the pit lane. That's a Pro-M driver, not the best outcome with that mandatory pit stop for Nikanen, who was doing pretty well in this race. Gamberini trying to chase down Rybatsky, but it's not happening. So Gamberini looking for a best of P3 overall, P2 in the Pro-M. What about Pugliati? Nothing about Pugliati. He's 16.5 seconds behind Bernini. That's not too bad. Having in mind he made those 2 mistakes. He lost about 4 seconds in one lap, and well, God knows how much he lost in that lap when he went wide and then straight into the pits. Still not too bad.
He lost time when he crashed at turn 1 for the lead, battling for the lead. I guess the bigger battle here is between Pugliati and Gamberini. That's my battle that I'm looking at. A pit stop still to go for your top 3, and
Niskanen.
I'm guessing it's gonna be all done on this lap.
Oh, Rybatsky made a mistake. This is a chance for Gamberini. This is the biggest chance, and I think he'll use it. He'll use it just about now. Rybatsky enters the pit lane.
Rybatsky decides to pit. Gamberini stays out for 1 more lap, so he'll lead the race. At least he'll be in front of Rybatsky unless something happens. I'm actually interested that he didn't go right into the pits.
What about Pugliati? Will he have time to overtake Rybatsky after he made that mistake? Rybatsky is now running very slowly in the pits. Both Rybatsky and Gavars. Pugliati setting the fastest lap time, and he will overtake both of the drivers. What a performance from both of the Italians. Who were just M drivers 2 weeks ago. Now they are promoted to Pro-M, and even after those huge mistakes that the drivers did, they are still in the top 3 places.
Actually, my question now is, how does this look with Gamberini and Pugliati? Because he was right in front of Rybatsky after he made that mistake. I think this is going to be a super duper tight exit and a super duper tight final lap. A little bit of a jump there from Gamberini, who's really pushing.
Yep, Pugliati faster than Gamberini.
He has to come in now. He has to come in now. And that will start the final lap of the race as well.
Yep, he has time, 53 seconds to make that pit stop, because with 1 minute on the clock, the pit stops are closed and the drivers would be penalized if they will not make that mandatory pit stop with 1 minute on the clock. So that's Gambarini into the pit lane. That's gonna be a very short, stationary moment for Gambarini in this race, and Pugliati is only a couple of corners away from the main straight. That's definitely gonna be close. He's 4 seconds ahead of Rybatsky, so not sure how fast or how slow Rybatsky was in the pit lane. Gambarini comes to a halt and gets moving again, and Pugliati is full pace running down the straight. That's gonna be close again between these two drivers. They had a moment in this race. They might have won again. Oh, that's gonna be Gambarini in front of Pugliati, but that's gonna be close, and Pugliati pulls in front of Gambarini for that final lap of this race. This is a very nice battle between these two drivers. We didn't see them running close since lap 2, yet they are close to each other again, and this time Pugliati is back in front of Gambarini. Even with that slightly damaged wing, Pugliati manages to pull off very fast laps, but well, the biggest winner of them all this afternoon is definitely Bernini. Keeping out of trouble, setting phenomenal pace throughout the course of the whole race. Still looking for a dominant performance this afternoon as Gambarini tries to gain on Pugliati. I don't think it's possible without mistakes of your rival. Just trying to keep that pressure on the shoulders of your fellow competitor, as well, Gambarini knows that Pugliati made a mistake. That still might come as Bernini completes these final 2 corners to take that checkered flag, and I think he'll take the lead of the Pro Plus standings, though no, he came into this race with 33 points. Gavras has 43, and Gavras will finish second, so it's still not the lead in the standings.
It will depend on what happens between Pugliati and Gambarini if they get the upgrade. But Pugliati, well, he comes out from a bad situation to win Pro-Am. Ahead of Gambarini, Rybatsky, and Gavras, who finishes 5th in a Pro Plus car. 6th goes to Dobrovolsky, and Niskanen will finish in P7 as Azikev 11 seconds back. If not for those 2 mistakes, his strategy would have worked. And we'll get everybody to take the checkered flag, because that will get us some proper results.
It was a nice race indeed.
Very intense race at the front. And a lot of mistakes, and honestly surprised by the amount of mistakes that happened. And to me, a very, very big surprise that these guys who were so quick managed to make so many mistakes. So Bernini takes the win ahead of Pugliati, Gambarini, Rybatsky. Then comes Gavras, Dobrovolsky. Am goes to Niskanen ahead of Azikev. Then it's Kirkis, Santo Nicola, Nikanen, Sarma, Abechunas, Ojunas in P3 in the Ams. Maximenko, Frisch, Shalkauskas, Meyerhofer, Pedersen, and Schwad. Actually, Pedersen finishes 16th. Schwadas in P20 didn't finish the race, or at least, yep, is 15 laps down. So a very, very intense event here at Imola. And next time out, we stay in Italy and we go to Monza for the Temple of Speed in exactly 2 weeks' time. If you want to join the championship as well, head on over worldsimseries.com and sign up for free. That's been it from us, and have a good night.